One of the first Little Did I Knows that I ever did was actually about these stumps here in Drake Park. Little did I know, they're actually petrified stumps that are over 30 million years old. And the woman who discovered them and eventually gave them to the city is the first matriarch we're going to cover this week, Klondike Kate.
So this is a photo that I used for a presentation for the fire department because Klondike Kate was a friend of the fire department.
Yes.
And so originally I had some software that would do some colorization. I tried it just because I thought the dress was really unique, but the results weren't very good. Flash forward a couple years later, one of the research sites that I used offered me a free trial of their colorization software. And so I did that, and that was the result. And the result to me really brought the colors up in the dress, the butterflies that you see there and several other features of it. And I thought it was just a stunning photograph. And that's what kind of started me on this path of colorizing some of the historical photos here in the museum.
Klondike Kate made her fortune in the Klondike Gold Rush as an entertainer, and her fame spread so far that there was even a Hollywood movie made about her. She came to Central Oregon to retire and acquired a 320-acre homestead out near what we now call Brothers, Oregon. Kate was all woman, but she was no shrinking violet. In fact, when she invested a substantial amount of her fortune to get her fiancé's career off the ground, only to see him run away with another woman, she sued him for breach of contract.
So we actually don't have a date for this photograph of Klondike Kate. This would be in her performing days before she came here. So this would be a photo that she brought with her when she moved here. Of course, she moved here in retirement from performing and trying to start a new, different life.
Now Kate, who was dubbed Aunt Kate by the locals, actually discovered these stumps on her homestead where, rumor has it, she tilled the soil with a vigilant eye on her je ne sais quoi.
One of the stories that comes through time is here she's got this homestead out at Brothers and she's trying to clear the land in dresses and heels. And I don't know if that's true.
I've looked at a lot of pictures of Klondike Kate in the museum's catalog, and I rarely see one of her dressed like you and I are dressed today. She's always dressed to the nines, as they say.
Dressed to the nines, yep.
Our next matriarch of Central Oregon also had experience with stumps, but instead of discovering them, she created them.
Evelyn, the Lady Logger of Lapine.
The Lady Logger of Lapine.
And I did a couple of pictures of her for an article we did for the newsletter.
Yeah.
And then this one I just played with, and when I see it in the black and white, obviously it's a pretty good feat. She's bucking a ponderosa log into, lengths that they could haul with their truck. But the black and white, what's kind of blended out is what it's at the end of the log. Mm-hmm. And so when it's colorized, that just all of a sudden it's like, well, that's her youngest daughter, who was maybe 3 or 4 at the time.
Yeah.
Going to work with mom, standing on the end of this log as mom wields the chainsaw.
So this is interesting that this is a Paul Hosmer series of photographs. Paul Hosmer, of course, Hosmer Lake named for him, but he was a great photographer, and that this was a study he had done for potentially an article, maybe even that he tried to sell it to Life magazine, so that you have a whole series of Evelyn in the woods with the chainsaw, with the big truck, having lunch, with one daughter in tow. But then it goes to after work and you're at home and she's changed into the 50s era housewife, with a dress, and she's making dinner and she's serving dinner, and then it's after dinner and all of her 6 children are around her and she's reading to them. So the whole series of photographs is really fascinating in terms of, here you have this 50s era woman having it all, right? That she's got this career running her own lumber company with her husband, and yet still has to go home and make dinner.
6 kids.
Read to the 6 children and all the things.
That's really a great story.
All right, that's it for episode 3 of our Central Oregon History and Living Color series. I don't want to give away what I have in the wings for the last episode, but I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with what Ginger was doing before she got stranded on Gilligan's Island. For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elmas.